Welcome back to PSL Living. I'm Sarah Prohaska, Public Information Officer for the City of Port St. Lucie. It's time for our periodic Public Works update with Jim Angstadt, our Public Works Director. Thank you, Jim, for coming. Really appreciate you being on.
Thank you for having me, Sarah.
You're going to tell us about some projects that are coming up and some that have just completed and a few things you have going on in your department today. Thank you. So let's talk about some things that have that people have seen that have been completed. What's a few? I know the roundabout.
Well, the most recent and probably the largest project we recently completed was the California University roundabout. The previous condition of the intersection was a three-way stop. You saw at different times of the day traffic backing up in different directions, whether the IRSC let out or the ball game let out on University. So the staff had several years ago crafted a plan to replace that with a different traffic control device. In lieu of a traffic signal, we felt that the conditions warranted a roundabout, and that was undertaken. It was designed, and construction was recently completed.
Just in time for the baseball season.
Yes.
And I just drove through there during what is usually a bad time right before a game, and I got through pretty quickly. So it seems to be working. Have you heard any feedback from residents on it?
It has, with any new traffic feature, it gets a little bit challenging, but it has been working as designed. And but there are a few other components of it we have to complete. There's still a landscaping component that will be done in the next several months. And then that should be, the job should be completed.
All right, and that, like you said, that's a busy intersection because you got Indian River State College, you got Walmart right there. You've got the stadium, all in that sort of vicinity. So, and
the traffic occurs. The traffic is changing throughout the day.
Yeah,
it isn't one direction or another direction. It changes throughout the day depending on the releases from school, or like in the evenings you get the ball games, and then just regular commuters using California or University.
Okay, great. All right, so what's another one? What else is on the out there? That's
California Del Rio. We recently completed a right turn lane. To add more capacity to an intersection and relieve some of the cut-through traffic. As traffic would build at the intersection. We saw a tendency for people to use some local streets to cut through to avoid the intersection. So to have traffic flow a little bit better, we provided a right turn lane. And then our traffic division will be following up with studies in the next several months to see if it was if we could label it a success.
Hopefully
it is being used.
Yeah, so. I'm sure it is, because I've been stuck at that intersection too, and it's right in the residential neighborhood, so I can see how some cars would probably use the cut-throughs and cut-through streets. Residents wouldn't really want them on.
Well, we see some bus traffic as well.
Oh, really?
We work with the school district to eliminate that.
Good.
As well. So we'll, as we indicated, we'll do a traffic study in the area to ensure that it's working. Okay, great.
All right. So what about sidewalks? Sidewalks are popular.
Well, we finished last fall. We finished a couple of ped bridges off of Veterans Memorial. Those were replacement fixtures to replace some two fixtures or two bridges that were at the end of their useful life. So they were completed and are being used. And sidewalks, we're wrapping up Del Rio, sidewalk on Del Rio from Port St. Lucie Boulevard to California. That is in its final phases.
Good.
The contractor is doing what we call his punch list, which is we inspect the project, and he goes in and create a list of deficiencies, and he fixes them. That's what he's working on now.
Great.
One of the ones recently completed in January was the section of Del Rio from California to McKenzie. That is completed and is being used by our residents. And then finally Cameo sidewalk from Port St. Lucie to Crosstown.
That's a big one.
That is also in its final phases. And contractors finishing that work up. There's some cleanup work to be done. But the sidewalk is open and being used.
It's being used. And that connects all the way to Crosstown to Port St. Lucie Boulevard, right? So that's a great connector, and then you can utilize the whole Crosstown Parkway sidewalk from there. So
one of the components of our sidewalk program is to provide connectivity, and in this case, this was within several miles of a school, so it was meets two of our criteria.
True. Okay. Awesome. All right. What else do we have? What's coming up on the horizon?
Well, we're working on a roadway and sidewalk combination project on Rosser. That is currently out to bid. We anticipate that being open very shortly for bids and then bring it in front of council.
Okay.
So we'll see construction in the next few months.
And what is that? What's an accommodation?
Well, the Rosser Drives has been failing for several years,
Okay.
paving, from the paving
the
perspective.
paving, okay.
So in lieu of, and we were in conjunction with a sidewalk project, we wrapped them both together so that we didn't have two contractors and keeping them separate, working in the same area. We put it through with one contractor, and that job it's through design and it's moving forward. So hopefully we'll see it in construction in the next several months.
Is that still has to be approved though by the council?
Yes, it'll come back in front of council for approval, and we should be able to move forward with it after that.
Okay, great. Any other big ones?
We're working on Veterans Memorial for
Okay.
repaving and a roadway rebuilding. The roadway is at its end of its useful life. It's about 2 miles of roadway, 4 lanes, 2 lanes in each direction.
Okay.
So we're working on that. Later this summer, we'll see it in construction. That'll carry over into next year as well. So it is a rather large job.
Oh, great. All right. So there's lots of stuff going on. You're always busy.
And we've got some
Yeah.
sidewalk projects in design as well that are going at the end of design. Thornhill from Oroso to Bayshore is under design or finishing design.
Okay.
It's going into the bidding process. We'll put it out to bid, procure the services of a contractor, and we'll see construction later this summer.
Oh,
Very
great.
similar to Idle, a similar schedule.
Okay.
A section from PSL Boulevard to Savona will also is going to bidding, and then will be into construction later this summer.
Okay, I'm sure residents are excited about that. Both of those. Anytime there's sidewalks going in, people get excited.
We're also working on another intersection project on Bayshore
Okay.
at Selvitz, another roundabout's going
The
in.
roundabout, right?
That is actually under construction. We're having our utilities are being relocated currently. While the project finishes up through bidding, we'll procure the services of a contractor and get started. That's adjacent to another sidewalk project where it's just being funded through FDOT, through a LAP grant.
Okay.
That will actually be under construction very shortly.
All right, great.
A small section of sidewalk from Bayshore up to Macedo.
Okay, all right, perfect. So we also have going on a microbial study that your department's involved with.
Yes.
Of the St. Lucie River. It's a study to test different spots in the St. Lucie River to see what kind of microbial pollution might be in there.
Yes.
Can you give us a little update on that, where we are with that?
Well, we've been working with the St. Lucie County Board of Health and St. Lucie County, as well as the FDEP on the study. We've completed our wet season sampling, and we've done 2 samplings in what are called the dry season.
Yeah.
We tested last year when it was in the wet season. Now we test in the dry to get different conditions. Unfortunately, it's been too dry.
It's extremely dry.
So some of our canals have absolutely no water in them. So we're working with the DEP, and they've recommended that we hold off until we have kind of a little more water in the canal and the water table builds up.
Okay.
So we're kind of on hold waiting for a little bit more rain to come in. So we're anticipating probably June to see that.
Okay.
And then we're going to be crafting the final results.
Analyzing everything. Yeah.
That hasn't stopped us from moving forward with analyzing the existing results.
Okay.
So we've got some staff members who are out inspecting some of the drainage basins.
Oh, okay.
One of the ones which was a hot spot we noticed for some of the bacteria we're testing for. We've already started walking the watershed, is what we call it.
Okay.
Where we actually inspect it, we look for certain kind of conditions.
Yeah.
And what we found it already on one small watershed. We found a leaking septic system that was failing.
Okay.
We also found a recreational vehicle that was directly discharging its sewage into the canal.
Okay.
We found some chicken coops.
Okay.
And we found a lot of dog waste.
Oh, dog waste.
So-
People don't realize it, but that stuff gets pushed into the river.
Yes, it can.
If you don't pick it up. So we got to make sure we pick it up.
So we're doing a little education. And then we're also, we have our code enforcement people are assisting us to handle, as well as utility department on the leaking septic.
Well, okay. Well, that's interesting though, but that was the whole point of the study, is to find the hot spots and to figure out what's causing them, because then you can get to the solution and you can do something about it and clean up our river. So that's interesting. But yeah, it's been extremely dry this season. So
Yes, it has.
You want to get the most accurate results, so you might as well do it right and get the results most accurate. I mean, you can't test it if there's no water in the canals, right?
Several of them are very dry.
Yes. Okay. All right. So hopefully by the fall we'll have a
We're hoping that with the revised schedule, yes, to bring something in.
Okay.
But as I indicated, we're already starting to the next step, which is
Yeah.
we're looking into some of the areas that have tested positive
Okay.
to try to find what exactly is going on.
Okay, well, that's really interesting. Okay. And one other big thing I know your department is working on is the Hurricane Expo, right?
Yes, June 3rd.
June 3rd from 10 to 2,
10 to 2.
correct?
Yes, at the Civic Center.
Okay, and it's the 11th annual one. So this is an annual thing that city's done for the past 11 years, and it's a really popular event, right? You usually
Yes, it
get how many people?
We
do you
get
usually?
a couple thousand people.
Okay, so and it's a really great way to just get in there as hurricane season's starting and figure out what you need to do to prepare, right?
Yeah, it's about emergency preparedness. We bring in a number of speakers. We bring in vendors who can help educate residents, particularly new residents, as to what they may need to do prior to an event.
Yeah.
And having went through an event last year, small event, a little less than a Category 1, but still, it's an important thing to be prepared for any event. We're seeing wildfires now.
Exactly.
Our emergency people are tracking things like that. We're working with the St. Lucie County Fire District and the Forestry Service on a lot of these items. Your office and communications has been extremely helpful.
Yeah,
it's a team effort, but we want to get our residents up to speed. Again, we're getting new ones in every day, so we want to make sure they're
exactly.
prepared.
Yeah.
So we plan for a few things. There's a lot of giveaways.
Yeah. And you get some of our local weather meteorologists.
Some of our weather people come in. Yes, local meteorologists are speakers. I believe the mayor's going to open the event.
Oh, great.
So it'll be. We're looking forward to it.
All right. Yep. So 10 to 2 on June 3rd.
June 3rd
right?
at the Port St. Lucie Civic Center.
And it's free, right?
Yes, it is.
Totally free. The
Totally
parking, free admission. Just come in and get some education on.
Come in, walk around a little, and get educated.
There you go. Great. All right, Jim, thanks for coming in. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. And we'll see you in a couple months for another update.
Look forward to it.
All right. And we'll be right back after these messages.